Joe. Right. Hello, everybody. We'll start things rolling straight away. Nice to be punctual. So welcome to another Insights Time webinar. Back again, end of March, hurtling towards a bank holiday weekend. So hope everyone's looking forward to that. I think there was reports of snow on the ground in Devon overnight as well, which is yeah, unexpected. So if you're heading down there, watch out. Yeah, we're back. Mike, you're back from holiday. Welcome back. You missed the last webinar, so yeah, refreshed and recharged, and not quite the tan that you had a few weeks ago, but
yeah, well,
sure
yes, I've got to
break.
get rid of that before I come back on. So yes, it is definitely the Rich and Mike show now, rather than just the Rich show from last month. So yeah, good to be back.
Good to have you back. Yes. So yeah, thanks for joining us. And today we've got a special guest. We've got Lauren Fennell joining us today from the Giant Finance team. So Lauren, thanks for joining us. Do you want to just give us a quick kind of overview of your role in Giant and how long you've been here and what you do for our clients?
Yeah, thank you both for having me. It's a pleasure to be a part of one of these instead of just watching them. So I'm the Hypercare Client Manager here at Giant Finance. I've been here for coming up to 7 years, I think. Wow. Since I've been back. I originally started here 12 years ago and left and came running back when I realized the grass wasn't greener. So being Hypercare Client Manager now, my role here is to essentially really look after those new clients when they come on board. So it can be quite daunting for clients when they're coming over. So I'm here to handhold, main point of contact, anything that they need. I'm here to help them, train them and get them used to our systems.
Yeah, I guess just to sort of put that in context with what me and Mike do. So we are kind of the new business managers, the salesmen here. So we will sort of be liaising with you about new clients that we're bringing on board and sort of working together for those first couple of weeks until we then leave them in your very capable hands and to be looked after in that Hypercare team, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, I think it's a very important role. I certainly mention it when I'm speaking to prospects to say, look, you know, the early stages of getting to know systems, etc., whether you be a new startup or an existing agency, can be quite daunting and off-putting. And the way that we circumnavigate that is we literally have you, don't we, Lauren, to say, right, okay, I think you go, it's usually about 3 months, isn't it? So they go through 3 month-end cycles and weekly cycles. Yeah. So literally, you should be completely au fait with what's going on, the VAT returns, the pensions, everything, so that you can self-serve out of our system. So you will get that sort of high level of touch, and then obviously go into a client management regime where you know you will go in there once you've fully au fait with the systems. But that there's no hard time scale, is there, Lauren? It's literally how the client is getting on, really, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. We can tailor it to each client. Some do more than the 12 weeks, some are ready with less time, but yeah, we just judge it based on the client.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. And we sort of topped this, Rich, didn't we? We're saying, look, you know, looking at switching and how easy is it to switch. I mean, we've done quite a few mentions on this when we've spoken about debtor protection, because it might be that you can't get the necessary limits or funding limits or insurance limits from your existing provider. There may be elements of the system that doesn't suit your business with your current provider. It may be a cost issue. Very often it's not cost issue, it's a matter of, you know, it's like Lauren says, she's got 12 years of experience in this, and that's really valuable. We've all got a lot of experience there, and this we have got low staff turnover as well. So again, that's one of the reasons to keep me working here is, you know, we really can, you know, help clients out. So, you know, Lauren, we switched a few people over recently, and you know, what's your advice to people on sort of benchmarking and when you should do it, etc.?
That's a good question, actually. I think it's one of those things where it's never going to feel like the perfect time. But absolutely. It's always a good time if you're ready. Maybe you've got a bit of a dip in the market, maybe you're a seasonal business, so you're a bit quieter at certain times, definitely beneficial at that point. But really, because we're here and we're experienced, as you said, and we have this process that we follow, we can go at any time. So it doesn't necessarily need to be the beginning of the calendar year or even the tax year, which we've got coming up soon. It really can be any time. We can literally pick up from your last week of your payroll with your previous provider and put it straight into our system and carry that on through the process. So anytime is a good time.
Yeah, there's that thing, the interfactor transfer, isn't there, that most funders will sort of sign up to. It's kind of an informal agreement, and yeah, we very much work within those parameters, and effectively that's whereby the outgoing funder and us as the incoming funder are going to sort of work together, right, and sort of liaise and make sure that all the information that's needed is going to be in place. And Lauren, you're the hypercare team manager, and I'm not sure of many, if any, other funders that have got that sort of specific role. So it's great that we've got that, and that we really focus on these businesses, because if you're an agency, you said it would never feel like the right time to move, even if you've got various issues and you've got things that need to change. It's one of those things that sort of it just gets pushed to the bottom of the list because there's other urgent things. You're prioritizing as an agency on getting candidates paid and making sure that payroll's in at the end of the week. And we're going to be around to sort of make sure that there's no dip, there's no sort of impact on those payrolls, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly the purpose here, is that I will sit and be told by one of you guys, this agency is looking to go live on this date, and I will make sure that everything's in place by then. So we've got our standard checklist of everything that we need. It might be year to dates if they're PAYE. So I know exactly what date we need that by in order to put it in place. So yeah, it just gives that agency the chance to relax a little bit and focus on paperwork, contracts, that sort of thing, and I can handle the rest.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can safely say to people that with the help of Lauren and us project managing it going across, it literally it'll switch from one provider through to the other provider. And Lauren, you can give everyone insurances, the pensions all pulled over. You mentioned all the year-to-date PAYs. Most people don't even think about that, but we've got templates. As long as we can get it in a CSV file out of the existing provider, we import it, don't we?
Yeah, exactly. As easy as that. It's just picking it up from one to the other. And I think that's another important thing. A lot of agencies run weekly payrolls, and that feels like a very tight deadline. But a common thing that I say to agencies is, I'm not afraid of the deadline, so you guys shouldn't be, because we're so used to that fast-paced turnaround. So it really can be your candidates get paid by your previous provider one week and they get paid by us the next, and that's very standard.
Yeah. Yes, and we also were. I mean, I remember, interestingly, one that fits a lot of bills of what you say there. It was a construction business that was switched in, I think, in January. Yeah, it was a low point, so we hadn't got that many workers out. He wanted to make sure the Christmas deadlines were met, so we then picked it up in January. And as we say, he wrote to his customers, with a look, I'm switching provider, etc. So it was nicely introduced. We then go out with the more formal bit, which again came from him, was topped and tailed. And he literally, we agreed that, and all the workers were signed up the week before, so they knew as of next week, put the timesheets onto this system, and it moved through seamlessly, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's kind of two bits to it as well, aren't there? I think there's because obviously we are ostensibly an invoice factoring company. That's what we do. We're funding these invoices, but we're recruitment specific. So there's the whole sort of payroll element to it as well. That is kind of a very different beast. So we're doing both of those things. We're working on bringing all of that candidate information and assignment information and payroll. Lauren, you mentioned year to date and pensions. That's obviously crucial to make sure there's no impact on tax codes and deductions, etc. But then at the same time, we're also looking at the debt. The existing sales ledgers. We're verifying outstanding invoices and timesheets, and we're taking care of all of that for our clients. So we're kind of, I think a lot of people I speak to who are with an existing funder looking to move are, they sort of don't quite appreciate that it can be really straightforward. They don't have to get their hands dirty on it. We're the ones that are going to go and verify invoices and make sure that we can take it on as it is and have no dip in sort of cash flow, because that's the crucial point. And because we're for the most part funding 100% of these invoices, we can make sure there's no drop off in cash flow, and that's kind of part of the important bit for an agency to make sure we're not going to drop off. And we've got systems in place, Lauren, that will make it really easy for our clients to have full visibility of that, haven't we?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we've got the systems where they can view everything on there, and they can easily draw down their availability. So as you say, from that first week, all the invoices, even take on invoices, should be verified, and then they can do that drawdown from first week.
Yeah, and we do all the necessary notifications to the clients that the bank accounts change. the interfactor process that Rich mentioned earlier on, if the outgoing factor receives any money and vice versa, we agree that we pass it backwards and forwards. So there's no issue on cash flow. And also the 100% is a really valuable point as well, Rich, because, you know, we have taken people where they've just been on a funding only, you know, 80, 85, 90% funding. You know, by the time that we put a VAT reserve on there, but by the time we've gone in, we're funding at 100%. So, you know, we can absolutely guarantee that your cash flow will be better and definitely not any worse, even if you're moving over from 100% another 100% provider. Yeah.
Lauren, so a quick question for you. I know there's no one size fits all here, but in terms of timescales, how long would you say, I guess, how long would you say it would take on average for an agency? Let's assume it's a kind of a, you know, relatively straightforward one. There's not too many sort of hidden nasties there that need to be ironed out, to bring them across, establish the payroll, make sure we can process. What sort of time frame are we looking at?
Yeah, so from my side, and when I say that, I mean sort of excluding legals and things like that, once that side is all done, if I was receiving the information of the agency at the beginning of a week, I could be processing their payroll by the following week. So it could be as easy as that. Certainly, even with PAYE, things like that, if it's there by the Wednesday, then the following week we're good to payroll.
Yeah. What sort of things are you looking out for, you know, to make sure that all that info is there? Because, you know, we work together quite a lot, obviously, the three of us, and getting these sort of new businesses over the line and making sure that all is well. And you keep us honest, Lauren, let's be honest, you know, you're the ones that are sort of making sure we're getting the info. So what are the sort of the crucial things? If you're an agency that's running a PAYE payroll, for example, what are the crucial things to make sure you've got in order before you sort of look to switch?
Yeah, so PAYE is the most complicated, but having said that, it's still not complicated. It should be everything that you already know as an agency. But it's going to be things like your PAYE and accounts office reference number, your pension scheme provider name, and just knowing a bit of information about your employment allowance and apprenticeship levy status. We can help with that as well. So if you are a little bit unsure, then we can provide some guidance on that. But that really is sort of the crux of what we need, is just that basic PAYE data, and we can certainly get the ball rolling from there.
And we basically will get the reports from your existing provider and then project manage it to a date, because there may be it might go within a week, but it might be you know, we agree it and then do it a month later. So you know, we can agree those timescales. And again, even if you're just funding and then actually we're taking the payroll in, whoever your payroll provider is will pick up that year-to-date information is kept somewhere, because you've got to do it for the PAYE pay slips, etc. So we, you know, as long as they can produce a CSV file stroke Excel file, we can import it, can't we, Lauren?
Yeah, exactly.
Even if I have to remap the data, we can get it remapped, etc. Yeah, leave it with us. Yeah, we've seen it all.
Yeah, that's true, Mike. You know, we've been doing this for a long time. We've been bringing on new clients for a long time. And there'll be many more to come. And, you know, whatever sort of situation the business is in, you know, we can generally deal with it, and we'll make it work. You know, our systems are flexible enough to be able to sort of handle most queries. And, you know, we're looking at sort of, you know, we fund foreign debt as well now. So there's opportunities there. So if, you know, if you're sort of watching this and thinking, you know, I'm just not necessarily happy with my current provider, or, you know, it'd be worth benchmarking fees and service levels, etc. But you're just thinking, well, it's a hassle. You know, it can be if you're thinking that way. But, you know, we take care of a lot of that hard work for you, because it's in our interests as well, right, Lauren? We want to make sure that we're comfortable with the way that the business is working, and we need to know that and that's where you come in, that these new agencies know how we work as well. It's a kind of it's a two-way street, isn't it, to make sure we both know exactly how each other's business are working.
Yeah, exactly. And it's all part of the relationship. And I think it's really important for, as you say, us to know our clients. Even down to invoice verification, you might have one client that we're used to them doing something one way and another client that does it differently. But that's, again, all part of the hypercare process. And I will match a client when they sort of graduate from hypercare and they go to a client manager and a client administrator. I will match them based on their sort of bespoke business, the way they work, and which colleagues I have here that sort of know that business the best. So yes, it's a really important process just to make everybody comfortable.
Yeah, but a very important point you make there, Lauren, relationship. You know, there are providers out there, and, you know, when you're benchmarking, you've got your price, you've got your funding limits, you've got all the commercial issues, but have you got a relationship with who you're working with? I mean, hopefully we're demonstrating here that hypercare manager in the high workload section, right? Okay, because you'll be speaking to them every day, probably 2 or 3 times a day, won't you, Lauren? For the first few weeks,
you'll be the best friend. Yeah, you'll be the best friend for those few weeks. Absolutely, yeah.
And it is all about the relationship, and if you haven't got a relationship with your current provider, then that is a major reason I would suggest to benchmark it.
Yeah, definitely. It is. It's such a relationship driven thing. And the key things that we hear about from from agencies we're speaking to, people are always going to talk about price. That's fair enough. People always want to save a bit of money, and we can always sort of look at that. But yeah, it's service and it's relationship. And if you're not getting that, it could be that you've been with your funder for a while, and it's just sort of starting to sort of drop off a little bit, and you do want to just benchmark and review. It really doesn't hurt to do that, and just to find out a little bit more about the process. And we can support with all of that. We took on an agency, I think a couple of months ago now. I think it was in the healthcare sector, and they had they didn't have a previous funder. They were I won't mention the name, but Lauren, I'm sure you'll work it out. And they had a few historic invoices that they'd already been sort of paying out, and they'd funded out of their own pocket effectively. And we sort of brought them in, set them up, and I think we just paid out on a sort of an invoice basis the first week, so they had a bit of cash to sort of make them whole. And then from then on, it was a case of running the payroll. So it's not just a case of one size fits all. There are going to be people who are with existing funders that want to switch on a like for like product. But then there'll be agencies out there who are just sort of funding this out of their own pocket. It might have started small and it's grown and snowballed, which is fantastic. And all of a sudden, 1 or 2 timesheets turns into 10 or 20 timesheets, and it gets very expensive. So I think that's the point where you want to start speaking to somebody to look at switching. So it's a kind of a different kind of switch, but there's still an existing sales ledger there. There's the existing invoice. There may be some payroll that we need to pick up on. And Lauren, we can deal with that as well, can't we? Not just all sort of the straightforward stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I can honestly say I don't think I've ever taken on 2 clients and they've been exactly the same process. Everything happens in a different order every single time, and there's always a surprise in there. And you get apologies from clients, so I'm really sorry, this is a bit awkward, that's a bit different, but it's just part of our job. And part of the take on process with hypercare is, as I said, to understand that client and to know how they work and how that can fit into our system. And even down to reports later down the line, once the payroll is ran, we give access to sort of a handful of reports to begin with, but I always say we've got so many reports on system. If there's something you need, tell us, and I bet we've got it to match. But we just don't like to overwhelm with everything to begin with.
A new starts, Lauren, we do a lot of new starts. And I think the hypercare really comes to its fore there, doesn't it, as well?
Yeah, exactly. And that's where I see probably the most amount of nervous clients, even more so than a take on, even though that's really important. We really see those new starts, and they might be starting up in their bedroom at home and they're just finding their feet, but they really do sort of cling on to that hypercare process. And there's nothing that I love more than a nervous client coming on in week 1, and by week 12 I'm handing them over and they're so confident, they know exactly what they're doing, and they know that they can now build their business because the systems work in the background and they've got us for that fallback.
Excellent.
Having that support, because it all comes back to that relationship thing, and we try and be a bit of an extension of their business, don't we? And try and you've mentioned the reporting aspect and all of the they're not going to understand a recruitment consultant coming out of a big established agency to set up on their own. There's no reason why they should understand payroll or know how that works and when to submit P32 returns and how to do pension stuff. And that's what we're here for. That's why we've got the hypercare in place to be able to look after that. And it works really well. If you are thinking about that, there are people out there like us who can help with that, who can assist with it. And like we said, Lauren will become your best friend. I think we'll leave it there, shall we then? We'll wrap it up. Lauren, thanks very much for that. Thanks for
Lauren.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. That was great, and it's given hopefully it's given everyone a bit of an insight into what we're doing for our new clients, what services are out there. As ever, if you are interested, if any of this has sort of piqued your interest and made you think that let's have a look, get in touch with any of us, and we'll be happy to have a conversation. For now, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. Lauren, thanks again.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks. Cheers all. See you soon.
Bye.